Alright, everyone, hello and welcome to ranking my old playlists or my old videos. So, you guys will realize that after I recorded Far Cry Classic, the first Far Cry game, that game was so bad that it had made me actually completely create a ranking system where each game gets a ranking from bad to good. Let me just yeah. So the how the game ranking works is the criteria is gameplay, level design, replayability, fun, story, and voice acting and graphics. So yeah, and then so each criteria is ranked out of 10, one being the worst, 10 being the best. After each one has been ranked, they are added together to be given an overall ranking out of 60. So there are the six criteria, and then they get a ranking overall out of 60. And how it goes for the tiers is any game between 0 and 15 points is a bad game. Any game between 15 and 30 points is an okay game. Any game between 30 and 50 points is a good game. And then any game 50 to 60 is a great game. So that's how that works. And I didn't do that for these other videos. Some of them I did kind of do like an unofficial ranking. I did it with Resident Evil 5, I know I did. So with that one, we're going to do a re-ranking. So I'm just going to go through these playlists and give you guys a ranking of each game. And yeah, so let's get right into it. So there's going to be no audio. It's just going to be me talking. We'll just go to the last video here. The rest of this will all be cut out. So this is the only time you guys are going to see a menu like this. And I will talk about the ranking for this one. All right. So this is for... It will clear up in a second. Unless my quality is really low. What's my quality like? Oh no, yeah, so it will clear up in a second. No, there, it's clear. Anyways, Splinter Cell Blacklist. Splinter Cell Blacklist is a really awesome game, and I had so much fun with it. So we're going to go through each one of the criteria, and we're going to give the game a ranking on it based on what I remember, and based on how I feel about the series as a whole, right? So, I'm going to write this down, and we're going to get going. So, first we got Splinter Cell Blacklist. So, this is the latest installment of the Splinter Cell series. It came out in 2013, and this game was so much fun. I played it start to finish, must have been over 10 times. I did it for my old channel. This was the first videos I put out on this channel. So, this one holds a special place. But anyways, the gameplay was pretty flawless. So, the gameplay I'm going to give an 8 out of 10. Simply because there's a few points where it's a little hard to navigate maps, but other than that, pretty flawless. Level design is a 5 out of 10. Nothing special, nothing groundbreaking. They still had good levels. They were enjoyable, but they're nothing special. Replayability. Replayability is going to get a 3. Because besides collecting all the Blacklist laptops and dead drops, which I do in this series, there's not much to keep you going back. However, I just really enjoyed it because I love stealth. So if you're really into that like I am, you can get hours of entertainment out of it. But for the majority, it's going to be a 3 out of 10 for the replayability. Fun. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10 simply because there's some points where it's just like, why? Like, especially in this last part, spoilers, you know, we are going to go into one part and you always lose the first engagement with the big bad. For some reason, I always do. I think it happens in this one too, and I don't know why. It just does that. And then you can't kill like the juggernauts from the front. You have to get behind or above them. That seems a little redundant because I mean I get why they do it, but I mean if they're like walking towards me and I'm behind a crate and I jump out, like that's kind of annoying. So the fun, it still really is a lot of fun, but you gotta learn how to play the game right. Story and acting, okay. They did not bring back Michael Ironside for Fisher, but that makes sense. He is so old. So that really changed the voice actor. There's like a weird sub conflict between Sam and Grim about the reason that Sam's even on this mission, because Sam's technically like supposed to not be here. And it just doesn't make any sense. I mention it in the series. I mention it. So the story and acting is gonna get a 5. Graphics 2013. Not impressed. I mean, they're not bad. They're just not super great, even for 2013. So graphics, we'll do 6 out of 10. Just that's being a little generous. Not much, but all right, so then if we add all that up, I will just quickly do that. So 8 plus 5 plus 3 plus 7 plus 5 plus 6 equals 34. So 34 for Splinter Cell Blacklist. 34. Which puts it just into the good category. Just barely. Just barely into... Oh, no. Yeah. Yeah, just barely into the good category. So... yeah, so that is the ranking for Splinter Cell Blacklist. That will be 34 out of 60, putting it as a good game, which I think is lower than I actually expected it to be, but, it's still a very enjoyable game, and if you guys haven't played it, I suggest you do. We are now moving on to Rise, Son of Rome, so I will see you guys there. Alright, so this is Rise, Son of Rome. This was, again, a very early series I did. I did it on my old channel, and I did it again for this one. Just so you know, most of the series I've done, I did do on my old channel, and I'm just starting to now break off into stuff I haven't done, even though there is still a few more projects that have to be done. But, that's neither here nor there, right? Alright, so, the gameplay. This game was a launch title for the Xbox One. It came out in 2013. And basically this was to show off what the Xbox One could do. So the gameplay, incredibly simple. You basically mash X and Y until a stun icon appears above an enemy, and then you perform an execution by pressing X and Y. It's really not that hard to figure out. Its gameplay is incredibly simple. So for the gameplay, it's getting a 2 out of 10. Just because if you're looking for a game that's going to challenge you, this is not it. Not it at all. So level design, each level is really cool, especially the second and third levels. They have really awesome Um, level design. So for level design, I'm gonna give him a 7. Replayability. Okay, there are a few collectibles, but they're not really anything special, and there's no real reason to play this a second time. So replayability, it's gonna get a 1. 1 for replayability. Fun. Oh, it's incredibly fun. Like if you're just looking for something you can turn your brain off and just play, this is your game. But it does get incredibly repetitive after a while. Even doing your first playthrough, you're gonna be like, is the combat gonna change? So at first it's really fun, but then then it gets really repetitive. And besides little sections like this that you're seeing, it's basically this and then swordplay. So fun, it's gonna get a 3 just because it's really fun for the first about hour, and then you're just like, okay, I'm done. Story and acting. This actually did have pretty good voice acting, and the story is nothing super great. Um, but it's a great story. I really do like it. So you know what? You know what, this game actually I think would make a better movie than a game. So it's getting an 8 in voice acting. Graphics. Okay, so this again was a launch title. It had to have really good graphics. In 2013, you guys saw in this same video, Splinter Cell in 2013. This came out the same year, and it looks like this. So graphics, it's gonna get a 9 out of 10 because there is still some slight problems with the graphics. So, anyways, I am just adding up the score now. I know you guys are probably doing it in your head, but I suck at math. All right, so this puts it in 30. Okay, so now you guys might be like, okay, so 30. So now does the 30, does that make it okay or good? So in the case where you're on a cusp of a number going into another tier, you always fall back. So this makes it an okay game, high okay tier. So that's 30 out of 60. The game's 50% filler and 50% story. And that's about the best way to describe Rise, Son of Rome. So moving on to Black. Alright, so now we are on to the first-person shooter I ever played on the channel, Black. So, Black came out in 2006? Hey Google, when did Black come out?
Sorry, I didn't understand.
Yeah, it's probably not thinking of the game. Alright. 2006, I'm pretty sure. Or 2008. Early 2000s game. Don't quote me on anything. It's somewhere in the early 2000s. I can't think of it right now. Actually, hold on. If I actually just go into the description, it doesn't. Okay, it doesn't bring it up. Never mind. All right. Anyways, onto the ranking. So the ranking for this one, the gameplay. So what you guys are seeing is actually fairly simple and really straightforward, and it works out pretty good most of the time. There were some times where I couldn't see because of the lighting. The lighting was really crappy. So gameplay, but it worked. Like if you shot and the reticle was red, you were gonna hit something. You know, the reload animation is really cool too. But anyways, yeah. So gameplay, it's besides the lighting, I can't really fault it for anything else. So gameplay is gonna get a 9 out of 10 because this game worked flawlessly for me. I know some people might be like, oh, this game worked flawlessly for me. That's all. These rankings are only based off of my experience. Your ranking could be completely different, and that's fine. So, anyways, there's that. And then level design. Okay, so most of this game takes place in either a forest or some form of a human structure. Like here we're in an asylum. There's one where you're in a foundry. There's one where you're in a city street. But yeah, the level designs were fairly simple, very straightforward. 99% of the time, it was easy to tell which way was forward. So yeah, level design. It's again nothing groundbreaking, so it's just gonna get a 5. It's just so mid, right? So then yeah, moving on to replayability. There are collectibles. There's little books that have stars and hammer and sickles on them. There's maps. There's blackmail to be destroyed. There's all that. But the story doesn't have any like other ending. There is no, real difference on the playthroughs. There are secret weapons you have to find. Actually, you guys are going to see up here, we're about to collect one of the secrets that is present in the game. That little book. And this is also the secret weapon, I do believe. But yeah, so you can go back for all that if you want. But beyond that, there's nothing really bringing it back. So replayability, it's gonna get a 2 because you can only really play this game once and just play through it normally, and then play it again, get all the secrets, and then complete it. But then after that, there's no real point to go back to it. There's no multiplayer. There's no DLC for the story, and I'm pretty sure this was the last game made by Centurion Games. So I don't think it was this game's fault, but fun. Oh, it's incredibly fun. This is like, if you guys have not played this game, oh, you're missing out. This is a great game. Really, really a lot of fun to play. So we're gonna go fun. We'll give it a 7. We'll give it a 7 for fun. Voice, the story and the acting. Okay, so the story is, you're not actually playing this in the present day. This is like a guy's retelling of the events that transpired, and yeah. But the voice acting in the game is terrible. The acting in the live action cutscenes, which is in this game, yeah, that's okay. It's not nothing too good. So the voice acting, it's gonna get a 4 out of 10. Graphics, not too bad for the time. Um, Graphics, they are a little dated, even, early 2000s, I gotta cut it a little slack, so I'm gonna give it a 5. I'm gonna give it a 5 in graphics, just cutting it a little slack because it is that old of a game. So anyways, we will add up that score here, and Black lands itself in 32. So just very low good game, which makes, that makes perfect sense to me. So anyways, we will be moving on to Limbo is the next game that needs a ranking. Okay. So this one is Limbo. So this came out in 2010. This was a very puzzle physics based game, which I am not super great at. Clearly, as I was just cut in half. Incredibly violent. But anyways, the gameplay. Oh yeah, you have to really put on your thinking cap for some of these. This is the last video, so some of these puzzles are pretty complex. But yeah, you have to really think, and once you figure it out, you're like, oh yeah, that makes so much sense. How did I not think of that? But it's not super. It's not like super normal, I guess. But the gameplay for me, I'm my brain don't work like that, so it was really hard for me. But the gameplay, trying to remain unbiased, 7 out of 10. Level design, it is a really cool way they did the levels with like a lot of negative space. And again, a lot of them are really creative because they have to be. So I give level design, I give it a 9 out of 10. It's like it's different from what was going on most of this around this time. It was different. Replayability. There are a few collectibles. I'm not really exactly sure how they work. how the collectibles work. Like I'm not even sure they're actually really collectibles. But yeah, there's not really a whole reason to replay this game. And plus, again, spoilers. You kind of understand that there's a loop in the game, so you kind of end up replaying it anyway if you want to continue. But there's no other ending or anything like that. So it gets a 1 for replayability. Fun. Yeah, there was a lot of fun, but there's also a lot of frustration trying to figure out the puzzles. And a lot of the time it just sapped a lot of the fun away. So it's fun as getting a 4 out of 10. But again, this is just based off of my experience, and these are just not my kind of games. I mean, I'll play them because they are fun to figure out. I don't want people to think that, oh, this game is like super irritating. It can be, but once you know what to do, it starts to be fun pretty much right away again. So, anyways, story and acting. There is a story. I don't know what's going on, but there's something going on, but a lot of it is left unanswered. So there is no voice acting. There are no voices in the game. But there's the story is kind of told through like the environment, but I don't know what's going on. So for story and acting, a story that seemingly makes little sense and no voice acting. I'm gonna give it a 2 in acting, in story and voice acting. Graphics, 2010. It's meant to this. There's not a lot of pixels here, right? It's meant to look that way. So I will give the graphics. Yeah, 5 out of 10. That seems fair, right? Okay, so adding this all together. Limbo was again another video I did for my old channel. I will stop mentioning that, but so that puts Limbo in 28, which makes it an okay game, and that is if you're not really into these puzzle games, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. 28 out of 60. Um, yeah, that makes sense to me. Okay. So the next game we're doing is Mortal Kombat X, the first Mortal Kombat game I did on the channel. Okay, so Mortal Kombat X, the first Mortal Kombat game I played. Man, I love this game. Um, all right, so let's get into it. So the gameplay. All right, so it's been like the other Mortal Kombat games. At this time, it would have only been Mortal Kombat 9, and if you want to count it, Mortal Kombat versus DC. I guess actually they started doing like combos and stuff in Deadly Alliance. Yeah, yeah. So, same gameplay core as Deadly Alliance, which makes this really great. For the time, this came out in 2015. So, gameplay. It's the gameplay I've grown accustomed to. There's no more high punch, low punch, high kick, low kick. There's no more of that. Now it's all combos and special moves, which I do enjoy. So yeah. So for the gameplay, it's nothing groundbreaking from the last Mortal Kombat's that we've experienced. So it's just gonna get a 5 out of 10 on the gameplay because it's the same thing that they've had since 2006, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Level design. So I guess this will actually be more like stages, which same idea. So oh, excuse me. What you're seeing right now is the corrupted version of Raiden's Sky Temple, and oh, the stages in this game look so good. They're just it's one of my favorite. Some of my favorite stages are in this game. So level design, they knew what they were doing. They cooked. I'm giving it an 8 in level design. Replayability, Okay, so if you there's no other ending besides you winning. I mean, I guess you get a little cutscene if you lose. But it's not like a whole ending. It's just a little cutscene, and then it's like, do you want to retry? And then you can retry. Um, but yeah. So for replayability, yeah, there. I mean, you can get hours of entertainment out of this game just doing the towers and stuff. I only did the story, but for the overall game, doing the towers and stuff, replayability, you have hours and days and weeks of stuff to do in this game. So replayability gets a 10 out of 10. There's way more than just the story in the Mortal Kombat games. So fun, yeah, this was a lot of fun. This was, you know what? I'm gonna go out on record here and say Mortal Kombat X is still my favorite Mortal Kombat game. I know that's not everyone's opinion of it, but for me, that's my favorite Mortal Kombat game, even beating out the newest one. So, anyways, fun. There are a few times where, like, they would go, like, attacks would go through my block, or their attacks would take priority. So it gets an 8 out of 10 for fun because it did happen more often than I would have liked. And there were some times where like hits wouldn't register right. Like you see what just happened there. I uppercutted and she hit me anyway. So yeah. Story and voice acting. It's a fighting game. Voice acting and story really don't matter that much. We just want to see two people kick the shit out of each other for 2 minutes, right? So, um, it wasn't bad. The story was follow. I know the story of Mortal Kombat more than most people probably do, but yeah. So, anyways, the voice acting and story is getting a 5 out of 10 because again, it's nothing special, but it's not bad. Graphics. 2015. The graphics actually don't look half bad. It's leaps and bounds better than Mortal Kombat 9's graphics. So graphics, it's gonna get, we'll say 7, because it still looks a little. You can tell this is a video game. Um, all right, so we will add all that up. 5 plus 8 plus 10 is gonna be a big one. Plus 8 plus 5 plus 7 puts it at 43. So that's like mid good range, which is where most games that are not anything super spectacular, but also not bad. Most games I find sit around that 40, 35 to 49 points range. So now we're going on to a golf with your friends. This is not the last video I did for this one, but this one's a little different because this is one I did with. Sorry, voice crack there. This is one I did with my buddy Joseph. It's a golfing game, and what you see is basically the whole thing. So yeah, so golf with your friends was something special. Oh, something so incredibly special. Um, wow. This game made me so angry, and I don't know when it came out. If I had to guess, I'd say probably like this is honestly a game that would not be out of place in like 2007, but I think this came out in the 2010s somewhere around there. I don't care enough to actually check. Actually, you know what? Hey Google, when did Golf with Your Friends come out?
Golf with Your Friends' initial release date is January 29th, 2016.
2016? Damn. Okay. So it came out in 2016. And yeah, it's basically it's exactly what the game title says it is. It's you're golfing with your friends. So anyways, gameplay wise, it had a lot of issues. And it's partly the reason I was so angry. Um, there is like that shit right there, right? Where it just goes to the cusp of the hole and it's sitting on the edge, and you're like, oh, come on! An ant could fart that into the hole. So, yeah. A lot of scenarios like that, a lot of stuff where like the game just decides, nope. There's a lot of times where to make a jump, you have to hit it hard, and you hit it different each time, but every time it's too little or not enough. This here is one of those spots with that fish fuck. So yeah, gameplay. I did not. It didn't feel. It didn't feel completed. Let's say it didn't feel like look at this, right? It doesn't feel completed. So the gameplay it's getting is you know, 4 out of 10. Cause I mean it worked enough, but just barely. Like see here I'm trying to hit it different each time, and that that did work. Okay. But there, you guys go watch the series, you'll see what I'm talking about. Level design. Oh, I love the level design. The level design actually might save it, because a lot of the level designs were really nice, really fantastic. Looked really good. This one has like that Kraken in it. Um, but there are some things like not super not super well at knowing where you're gonna go. So, anyways, for level design, we'll give it a 7 out of 10. Because there's a few design flaws in the game, I'll tell you that much. Um, Man, just watching this makes me angry. I haven't watched it since we recorded it, and it's just, oh. Replayability, 10 out of 10. This is a game you guys can play for hours. And don't get me wrong, when the game works and it's going your way, it is really enjoyable. Just most of the time, shit like this happens. I'm on my third stroke, and I have not made it out of the first area. I've turned the volume off, but I am probably quite livid. Um, so yeah, but you can get hours and hours and days and just a whole lot of entertainment out of this. This is a good party game. Fun. Okay, it's getting a 3 in fun because there was so much BS going on all the time that I was not having fun playing this game because shit like this. And like if it happened once or twice, whatever. But sometimes it would happen 4, 5, 6, 7 times. So this one, it's getting a 3. There is no story or voice acting, so that's a 0. Graphics 2016. It's meant to look cartoonish like this. So graphics is a 5. All right, you guys ready for what Golf with Your Friends gets as an overall ranking out of 60? It's gonna be probably higher than I was thinking, but yeah, 29, 29, one above Limbo. Wow. All right, so 29 makes it a okay game. Which, yep, if they only fixed the gameplay, I really think it could be. I really think it could be more, but that is not the case, unfortunately. All right, so moving on to our next one, which is going to be Mortal Kombat 11. All right, Mortal Kombat 11. Oh, um, I love this game. I don't. I still think Mortal Kombat X is slightly better, but this one's also super great. I really did like this one. So Mortal Kombat 11, man, something special about that game. I love it so much. So this came out 2017. This is actually the Aftermath DLC. that you guys are seeing right now. Let me just double check. Hey Google, when did Mortal Kombat 11 release?
Mortal Kombat 11's initial release date is April 23rd, 2019.
Oh, 2019. Really? Wow. Oh, wow. Okay. Um, yeah. All right. Um, yeah, so this was a really, really good Mortal Kombat game. I really did enjoy it. A lot of fun to be had with this Mortal Kombat game. The story was actually, you know what? I do like the story better in Mortal Kombat 11 than I do for Mortal Kombat X. I'll give it that. So Mortal Kombat 11, the gameplay. The gameplay didn't suffer from the same issues X did, at least not to the same extent. So when we are talking about the gameplay, I try not to let my personal biases take over. Um, but Mortal Kombat 11 just, oh, it's so goddamn good and programmed correctly. I love it. This is gonna be a good one. Um, it might even actually outrank Mortal Kombat X, because it does do some things better than X. I just like X. I just like that more than 11, and I mean that's fine. But without my biases taking over, I'm gonna give this one a ranking, and it might outrank X. But we'll see if it can beat 43. So, uh, the gameplay I've already mentioned, pretty good. I can't remember one time where my attacks weren't landing, or their attacks were going through mine. I can't think of anything like that. A few times I get caught in combos, but those are combos. So it's getting a 9 out of 10 for gameplay, simply because I didn't like. One thing I didn't like about this one is that they got rid of the X rays and replaced it with fatal blows. Fatal blows! Which really just sucked. They didn't look as good as the X rays. So it gets a point reducted for that. Um, so, level design, which is again stages. I mean, just look at this. Look at that shit. Uh, Kotal Khan got no respect. He deserved better. He really did. Um, but yeah, just look at this. Oh, it looks like a movie. So, level design, a lot of the stages, also a lot of my favorite ones also come from this game. Not as many as X, but. So, we got for the level design, we'll give them a 7 out of 10. Just because there were a lot that I got bored with like really quickly, um, and some of them just didn't look that good to me. But I mean, like in the cutscenes and some of the stages, it was great. Replayability, 10 out of 10 because it is a Mortal Kombat game. You can get so much out of this. You can get actually more out of this than you did Mortal Kombat X, because this one introduced the gear system, which I'm not a super big fan of, but fun. About the same as Mortal Kombat X, so it gets an 8. Story and voice acting, again, this one I actually really did like the story. This one is talking about, like, this is where the timelines come in, and I do like that. And I think Mortal Kombat may have messed it up, but I really did. This is where the main continuity we're in currently takes off, is this game. All right, so we got for story and voice acting. You know what? I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 10. For graphics and all that, 2019 looked pretty good. Graphics. It looks super good, almost like real life. Almost 9 out of 10 on the graphics. So yeah, that's I think definitely outranked. Mortal Kombat X. Yeah, 49. Ooh, just short of great. 1 point short of great. 49 out of 60. Wow, so close to being in great. Only one game I have done is in great, and that is Red Dead Redemption 2 with a score of 54, I think. It got a 10 out of 10 out of almost everything because that game is super great. But anyways, the next game we will be looking at is okay. So this is going to be our re-ranking of Resident Evil 5. All right, so here we are with Resident Evil 5. This is another series I did with Joseph, my good friend, and yeah. So this came out in 2009. If I'm not mistaken. I could use Google to check, I guess. Hey Google, when did Resident Evil 5 release?
Resident Evil 5's initial release date is March 5th, 2009.
Yeah, so 2009. Um, this is different than the Resident Evil games people are used to now. So from Resident Evil 4 to Resident Evil 6, they did they made the game focus more on action instead of puzzle solving and that sort of thing. And the games didn't become super I mean, 4 was really popular, but 5 and 6 are often seen as the worst games in the series. So yeah. Um, let's look at Resident Evil 5's rankings. So the gameplay, uh, it was okay. I did like the idea that you could hit enemies in the head and the legs and they get like stunned and you could go up and like you could roundhouse kick people, you could sucker punch people if you were playing as Chris. I was playing as Sheva. So um that's a really good way to play the game if you want to conserve ammo and also clear guys out. Because if you did like a twist kick or anything like that and people were caught in it, even at your allies, they'd get kicked out. They get kicked too. They don't deal any damage, but that's not super relevant to this current conversation. But yeah, so anyways, gameplay. Uh, Basically, it's this. What you're looking at. An enemy would have a weak spot if they were a boss. Like this whole mission here is a boss fight with Albert Wesker. So, yeah. So you don't really get to see the whole game, but that's okay. Go watch the series if you want to see the whole game. So yeah, so gameplay is a 5 out of 10. Nothing special. It was just like 4, except you had an ally this time. Um, and there were some times where, like, if your ally was dying and you wanted to save them, like you would press B to heal partner. It would use one of your first aid sprays, and you didn't want to be doing that because they were expensive, and you don't get a whole bunch of healing items. But anyway, moving on. Level design. This looks great. A lot of the missions do look great. They do seem like they're really really fun, and if there wasn't an apocalypse going on, they'd be okay. We didn't know what to do here, so we actually we actually fail there. He gets tossed into the air. But anyways, yeah, level design. So my favorite part of this game is the marshlands. But the level design looked so good, looked so great. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. 8 out of 10 on level design. There were a few parts. Like this map, I feel like could have been a little bigger, but you know. Um, Replayability, there are collectibles. There's the medallions, treasures, you know, and you can play through the game as Chris or Sheva. There's the DLC that I haven't recorded, but I do plan on recording that at some point. But yeah. So Resident Evil 5 gets, for replayability, it is pretty replayable. So, you know, it gets we'll give it a 6 for replayability. Fun. Yeah, it was pretty fun. There were some pretty tough sections that sometimes were really annoying, but hey, that's what makes games fun, isn't it? So, anyways, fun is going to be a 6 as well. Story and acting. Okay, the Resident Evil series is infamous for its terrible story and acting. This game is no different. It's getting a 3 on story and voice acting. Graphics 2009, not super terrible, and perhaps even you know, top of the line at the time, but it has not aged well, so it will be docked points for that. But also being cut a little slack because it is 2009. Graphics are going to be a 5 out of 10. All right, so 5 plus 8 plus 6 plus 6 plus 3 plus 5 equals 3 plus 5 equals 33. Putting it just into the good category, just barely. So low good. Low good ranking on that one. But yeah, so the ranking for Resident Evil 5 is 33 out of 60. I did give the original ranking for this in the video when I did kind of informal rankings. I did give it a 4 out of 10. You know, that seems to translate well into 33 out of 60. I think that's relatively around the same amount with a little less, but you know, when your only numbers to option are like from 1 to 10, that you know that gives a lot of space for error. This one's a little more refined. All right, so the next series we're going on to is Call of Juarez Gunslinger. These games were really, really, really good. I mean, I like them quite a lot. But you know, I mean, it sounds like I'm gonna say something bad about the game, but I'm not. I love the way they told the story through these like little like still cutscenes with, you know, voice acting, which wasn't half bad. So yeah, so we're gonna do a ranking for Call of Juarez. I do gotta write out all these things because I do have a little book where I rank all my games. Whoops! Oh shit! I accidentally put my brain on. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Actually, it's fine. Don't worry about it. And I'm just writing in the book. I gotta do this. It's part of my thing. I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. Long time ago in a mountain far, far away. Star Wars, but the Old West. Okay. Call of Juarez. Gameplay. So sometimes it was hard to see enemies. But a lot of the time, oh man, you felt like a absolute legend of the Old West. Oh, it was so good, this game. I loved it so much. So, you know, gameplay, you know, out of 10, I honestly, you know, got to give it a like a 9 or a, oh no. Yeah, I know. Yeah, like a 9. I gotta give it a 9. The only reason it's not 10 is because sometimes it was really hard to see enemies, and I was like, where am I being shot from, and all that. Level design. This is what the game looked like, and I absolutely love this. Um, but the main reason that like enemies were hard to see and sometimes it was hard to tell how to get from one area to the other is because of this art style. So it gets a 7 out of 10 on level design. Replayability. There are secrets called nuggets of truth. I got a lot of them. I also missed a lot of them, mainly because I didn't know they were in the like I didn't know that I didn't know where most of them were and where places that they would be. But anyways, replayability. I'll give it a 5 out of 10 because you can replay through this game once and then do it again and still have a good time. Maybe use different guns, find all the secrets and stuff. But yeah, there's not a whole lot reason to go back after you've done all the nuggets of truth and you've played through it a few times. Fun. Oh, this game was tons of fun. I love this. So right here with the combat, like look at that. I mean, I did terribly, but like the numbers popping up, the points, and the like when you shoot people, they, like just a big boof of blood. This is a nugget of truth talking about the Native Americans, and then sometimes there'd be duels, and those looked really good. Honestly, wait, what did I give it for fun? Oh no, this is the fun. Yeah, I am on fun. Yeah, okay. So yeah, for all those reasons, for this, what you're seeing right here, um, I give it a 7 out of 10 for fun. Um, so storytelling and voice acting, it did something really cool. It did that thing you guys saw in the beginning where it's like a bunch of still images with words. He's talking through this. This is another one where you're recounting past events. This is not the last mission for this one too because I kind of made a mistake, and if you guys want to know what that mistake was, go watch the series. Um, so yeah, but this is me playing here. So yeah, so story and voice acting, I really like the way they did it, and I haven't come across something that worked like that well since. I'm giving it a 10 out of 10 on story and voice acting. Also, this did come out in 2013. I know that. Graphics, it's meant to look in this kind of cartoonish, semi-realist way. Um, but again, it sometimes made it hard. So it gets a 4 in graphics because of stuff like this. Like I didn't know if I could go this way, and obviously I couldn't. So yeah. All right, so we will add all that up. This is going to be another high one. So 5, 7, 7. Nope, not 7. 10 plus 4 equals 42, puts it in the good category, right in that sweet spot where most games sit. All right, our next one is going to be Battlefield 1, one of the earlier ones. All right, so this is Battlefield 1. This is in the last chapter where you're fighting the Ottomans. All right, so for Battlefield 1, this will I won't be recording the other Battlefield games. The only reason I did Battlefield 1 is because it's the only good World War One game that I have found that I thought would be good to record. Um, and yeah, this is again another one I recorded for my old channel and all that. But this is really the first kind. This is the first like traditional war game I played for the channel. So yeah. So gameplay. So this was really good because you could actually play the game any way you wanted. Like here, I'm playing it stealthy, and so if you want to go stealth or you want to go guns blazing, you can. And I think that those two ways of gameplay are super Super important. And even one mission, you kind of have to do it stealthily because if you get spotted, you're gonna have a real hard time. And oh, okay, guys, I love kill animations. Like in a game where you're going and you go knife somebody and they just fall over, it's like, oh, that's boring. But when you like come over and you like stab him in the neck and you get him in the chest and you pull him down, Splinter Cell got points for that as well. But yeah. Oh, also, if you had a bayonet, you could charge. You could actually charge and like stick people. So gameplay. Gameplay out of 10. Um, if you could go guns blazing or stealthy like this, that helps with the with replayability. There was a multiplayer too. That was pretty popular, but yeah. So gameplay. I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10 because it felt like you were playing Assassin's Creed, but in World War I. you know. And if you didn't want to play Assassin's Creed, you didn't have to. You could play Battlefield. So yeah. Level design was again really cool, Um, really awesome ideas. A lot of World War I battlefields. This one's actually on a train. This is one of the more unique ones. So yeah. So for level design, we're gonna go, you know, 6 out of 10. Some of them were pretty genius. Some of them were pretty just like, okay, well that's something I've seen a million times before. Um, so yeah. Replayability, again, you can play this stealthily. You can play this fully like guns out blazing. There are secrets. There's these boxes that have like documents or something in them. I don't know. I never really cared to look for them. So replayability we'll give it a 4 out of 10. There was the multiplayer, but even the multiplayer, I played it. Not really my kind of thing. Yeah, so see field manuals. Those were collectibles. Fun. Yeah, it was pretty fun. There were some times where it wasn't fun. But 6 out of 10 for fun. I'm just the reason I'm not playing the other Battlefield games is because I don't care, and the only reason I cared about this one is because it was set in World War I. Um, the story and voice acting. So yeah, they all take place in the same universe, obviously. But you kind of play through like 5 stories. You honestly play through like about 5 stories, and then yeah. So that was really great. The voice acting also isn't terrible. Um, so for story and voice acting, I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. It's not perfect, but it's not bad in any sense of the word. Graphics. Hey Google, when did Battlefield 1 come out?
Battlefield 1's initial release date is October 18th, 2016.
So this came out in 2016, same year as Golf with Your Friends. Not bad for 2016. Pretty good. I will give it a 9 out of 10 on graphics. All right, so we will add all this up. 9 plus 6 plus 4 plus 6 plus 9 plus 9. You guys might be wondering why I'm using 43, by the way. So it's in that sweet spot again. You guys might be wondering why I'm using a calculator. The way my brain works, I will lose track of where I am if I just say a bunch of numbers out loud and don't have anything to keep track. So yeah. So that's why I use the calculator, just to make sure I am doing the math correctly. I think this is where I get spotted. Nope. All right, but anyways, we're gonna move on to the next one, which is Fall Guys. Fun times. All right, so this is Fall Guys. So this game, this series is one I like to call an immortal series, which means it will never really end. because this is a game. This is just a fun game that I like to record sometimes. Um, so, anyways, this one doesn't really end, and I debated about doing a ranking for this because it will never end. But I thought I might as well just because. I mean, its main core elements are always going to be there, so it's not going to change too much. All right, so gameplay. Gameplay is really fun. I remember when it first came out, it had some issues, but now it seems that those issues have been resolved, which is super nice. Um, but yeah, it was basically you get certain maps and they have obstacles like this one. You have to match the fruit to whatever pops up on those screens that are counting down. And in this particular variant, there is a sweeping arm that nearly kills me. And yeah, that's not always there, but yeah. So basically, you go through different courses. Some of them are races. Some of them are survival games, like this one. Some are combat. So some are literal sports. Like there's a volleyball one. So gameplay, it worked perfectly, and it worked as it's supposed to. So gameplay is getting a 10 out of 10 because it works exactly the way it's supposed to feel like it's supposed to work. Level design, this would just be like the different stages. We got knocked out there, but our squad's still in because we were doing duos, so we actually do continue. We actually do make it on this one. Um, so yeah, level design, a lot of them are pretty simple, but they're meant to be because they're not. There's no super in depth anything here. So level design, they're very simple, either racetracks or arenas. So it gets a 5 on level design. Replayability, 10 out of 10. You can get so much entertainment and content out of this game. Fun, 10 out of 10. This game, I play. I don't usually play games unless I'm recording them. There's a few I do, and this is one of them. Story and voice acting gets a big fat 0 because there absolutely is no story and there is no voice acting. Sure, there might be lore to like what the beans, which are what the contestants are called, but there's no real story. Graphics. Hey Google, when did Fall Guys come out?
Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout's initial release date is August 4th, 2020.
So yeah, it came out 2020. It's meant to look like a cartoon. So for graphics, it's meant to look like this, and it looks pretty good. And the way the graphics are, it doesn't really make it hard to tell where you have to go. So you know what? We might have another great game on our hands, and you know what? I would 100% agree with that. Um, because this game has a lot of tens. Not quite. 45. So that is like the really good, just it's, I think what really dragged it down is when it has no story or voice acting. And the level designs, they are just like either a racetrack or an arena. But they I think level design and story and acting dragged it down. Otherwise, it would have been a great game. But anyways, we are moving on to Outlast 1. All right, so Outlast 1 was the first horror game I played on the channel. Again, this was on my old original channel. So anyways, this came out in 2013. And if you had looked up horror games on YouTube back in 2013, this would have been at the top of the feed. This game came out around the same time. Like it came out in the same time as like Five Nights at Freddy's did. And you know that was really starting to take off at the time. But this game stood out. It didn't get buried by the initial success of um, the initial success of Five Nights at Freddy's, because it was able to stand on its own 2 feet as, you know, something special. And it was. This game was lots of fun, and now they have the Outlast Trials, which I might record because I did see that it got an update and there's a mission I haven't done, and I might record it. No, don't hold your breath on that. I kind of don't want to go back to playing the Trials, but I might. Anyway, back to this one. So, yeah, Outlast 1, kind of a special one for me because this is when I first started doing YouTube. This is one of the first series I did. Because yeah, before I had this channel, I had another channel under the same name that I just started uploading on, and I kind of didn't like how that ended up. My older videos were terrible. So yeah, I'm just gonna turn on a fan real quick. It's hot. You guys are gonna hear it, but that's fine because there's no audio coming from the videos anyway. Oh, that's so much better. I'm not dying. Okay, now I can focus. Sorry guys, I was really just trying to push through it, but now that I'm not dying of heat stroke, we can move on. It gets so hot in this room. Okay. Yes. Okay. Gameplay. It worked perfectly. A lot of how the game operated. What was really cool and unique was there were parts that were really dark. They had to use the night vision function on your camera to even get through. And you also were able to unlock notes and stuff when you recorded stuff that was, you know, noteworthy. You guys actually saw it at the beginning of this video clip. So, you know, gameplay, it was unique, especially for the time. So, it's gonna get a 7 out of 10 on gameplay. Oh, also it allows you to see the wall rider, which is that spooky guy that just materialized in front of us. So yeah. Level design, you're playing the whole thing in this like asylum, and you go through like the sewers and this underground lab and a couple other cool places. But yeah, you know, it's nothing too. Oh yeah, and the enemies. Oh, Chris Walker's so good. Um, so yeah, the level design, you know, it only really functioned for you to go here, do this, so you can proceed through this area. So you know, it was nothing special, but it wasn't bad. So it gets a 5 out of 10. Just so mediocre. Replayability. Yeah, there's the documents, there's the notes. There is no other endings or anything. There's just the one. But if you want to go through and get all the notes like this and all the documents, you can. But there's not a whole lot of reason to go back to this game after playing through it once. So it gets a 2 for replayability because you might be able to play through it 2 times. Fun. Okay, so fun. This was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun playing this. It was very spooky. Like I said, this was top tier horror back in the day. In the year or in 2013 back in the day. That was back in the day now though. It's over 10 years ago, 12 years ago now. So yeah. I did have a lot of fun. I really liked the way the game had to function. That's our dude. You actually see him in the Outlast Trials. He don't look like that because he's a lot younger. Anyways, so we got fun. 5 out of 10. Again, it was really, really fun, but it kind of felt you're just running around a lot. Story and voice acting, it's okay. Um, I really do like the character designs, but Miles doesn't talk, which is weird. So the characters just seem like they're talking to a brick wall all the time. Like this guy, like he's not getting any reaction besides Miles moving around, and that's really me doing it. And you think Miles would be like, "Oh my god" or something. He clearly has like a language, like he can talk because he writes that stuff down. But like he can talk. You hear him make like scream and stuff. So yeah, the story and voice acting, it's getting a 5 out of 10. Graphics 2013, not super bad, not super great. Um, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. All right. So 7 plus 5 plus 2 plus 5 plus 5 plus 7 puts it at 31. Just into the good. Just into the good category. Which I mean, that for what it is makes a lot of sense. Moving on to Outlast the Whistleblower DLC. Alright, so the Whistleblower DLC was a story expansion where you played as Waylon Park. And he is the original guy who actually emails Miles Upshur, who is the guy you play as in the main game. So this is basically what's going on here is basically you get caught, you're made you get forced to be part of the morphogenic engine program, which is uh, the main thing that the bad guys are doing. And yeah. But anyways, it's very similar to the main game. Um, it's so similar, in fact, that it's actually going to receive the exact same rating. Because this was basically just a prologue, a 6-part prologue to, at least in my case, it was a 6-part prologue. But in reality, this will take you about maybe 2 hours to finish. So it's gonna get the exact same rating as the first game because it is essentially still just part of the first game. So yeah, so it's getting the same rating, 31 out of 60. I did debate just putting the whistleblower in as like in front of the core game and just treat the DLC and the story as all like one piece. But I thought Whistleblower could be in its own thing because it is kind of like a different game, different short game. Oh yeah, Eddie Gulskin. Um, he really made it. Made the DLC worth it. Was this guy? But anyways, we are moving on now to Outlast 2. So all the Outlasts are getting rankings. All right, so Outlast 2 takes place in Arizona. Um, so you're not confined to an asylum anymore. You're kind of in like this forest, like it's a very remote town, essentially. So it's it's gonna be different than Outlast 1 because the thing about the Outlast games is that each one of them feels different. They don't just they don't do what like COD does and release the same game over and over again. with different characters and different missions and stuff. Which hey, that's not. I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying that a lot of games do that, and it's not. It's not. It's not terrible. Like I don't want people to think that I'm saying that you can't have a successful game, an actual successful game without if you do that you can. I mean, look at COD. Ultimately the same thing, but it's okay. Anyways, we're not talking about that here. We are talking about Outlast 2. So, Outlast 2 had leaps and bounds improved on the first game. I think this came out in 2017? Hey Google, when did Outlast 2 release? Okay, yeah, so 2017. Okay. So, the gameplay, um, it's essentially the same from the first game, so it's gonna get a 7 for all the same reasons, because that part is still pretty much the same. Now, what's different is the level design. Ooh, they nailed it. Like this one, with the you're in this submerged like cave system. Oh, that's awesome. And then there's the town, and then there's the forest with all the like heretics and stuff. Oh, it's just awesome. So it gets an 8 in level design. Replayability, again, it gets a 2. Because there's not really like a lot of. Ooh, that was creepy. There's not like a lot of. I don't even think there's like actual like collectibles. I think like there's journal pages and stuff, but I don't actually recall any collectibles. Also, the healing was different. Now you actually had to heal. In the old game, you would just heal over time. This one you actually have to heal by holding Y here. Um, that's not enough to bring it up to like an 8 for gameplay, but yeah, but replayability is a 2. There is no other endings. You get one ending, so replayability is really just a 2 if you want to play it again, just for the fun of it. Fun. It was a lot of fun. It was even scarier than the first game. So you know what? It's getting a 6 in fun. Story and voice acting was much better. Blake does talk. He's the first protagonist to actually talk in the series. Depending on who you call a protagonist, but he's the first player character to talk during the series. So, anyways, it gets a 7 in story and voice acting just because it's a lot better. Graphics 2017, not bad. Graphics, I'll give it a 7 in graphics. So yeah. I think that's going to rank a little bit higher than the first game, which makes a lot of sense. Yeah, 37. 37 out of 60. And that you know what, that sounds a bit right. This boss fight though, oh, this is one of my favorite parts, because you're not actually fighting this character named Val. You just have to avoid her, and oh, is she creepy. Oh boy, is she creepy. Oh, also, yeah, the camera. The camera, you have to redo the camera. That's in all of the games, though. So, we are now moving on to Red Dead Revolver. Oh, this one's one of my favorites. All right, so this is Red Dead Revolver. It is part of the Red Dead Redemption franchise. However, it is not canon. This came out in 2006. And this is, I believe, one of the very first games I ever played. So, Red Dead Revolver you know, it's a special game to me because I played this so much when I was a kid. Like this, I played almost exclusively this when I was little. This was my favorite game and still is. Um, Again, I'm going to try to remain impartial. I am not going to let um, my past with this game affect the ranking. I'm going to be really truthful. All right, so gameplay. So sometimes the reticle lights up, but you don't hit people even when you clearly should have. It doesn't happen too often, and also sometimes that Deadeye just doesn't work. Like it just like you'll fire, but you won't hit anything. Um, so yeah. So there's that game. There's that. The game does have poor programming. So you know what? For gameplay, it's getting a 4 out of 10 because there were a lot of times where it just seemed like guys didn't hit me and I wasn't hitting people when I clearly was. So yeah. Um, then we got level design. You see what I mean? Um, like that's just a funny, but for level design, we got it had a lot of. Okay, I'm just actually gonna talk here for a second in the video, so I'm just gonna. Can we skip that? Yeah, thank you. So yeah, I go on a rant there for a little bit. Um, the level design, the levels are really cool. I like the levels. They don't look super good because it is 2006, but you know, cut a little slack on that. Um, so yeah, but you know, for like 2006, their levels were pretty fun. You know, go watch the series if you want to see all the levels because they are fairly neat. So I'm giving it a 7 out of 10 on level design. Replayability. There's no secrets. There's no other endings. If you want to go through and get excellent on all the levels, you can. So it gets a 2 on replayability. Fun. Oh, this game can be really fun. If you're willing to put up with a little bit of bullshit. Um, it gets a 7 out of 10 on fun. The voice acting and story is terrible. It's basically just a revenge story where you go down and you kill your family's murderer. That's essentially it. The voice acting is subpar. It gets a 4 out of 10 for voice acting. Graphics 2006. I mean, look at these graphics. Oh, they did not age very well. You can see the polygons. Even for 2006, I feel like Rockstar could have done a little better. So yeah. You know what? I'll give it a 5 out of 10 on graphics. I will cut it. That's cutting it a little slack. But so yeah, we'll add all that up. 4 plus 7 plus 2 plus 7 plus 5 plus 4. I mix those last two up, but that's fine. 29. So that puts it in the okay category, just at the very end of it. Anyways, we're moving on now to RoboQuest, which is the last one we'll be doing. All right. All right, so this is RoboQuest. This is the last one we'll be doing for my videos that need to be ranked, and then every video on every series video I have done on the channel will be ranked. And I'll continue ranking my current series I'm doing. So RoboQuest was a 16-part series of a roguelite that me and Joseph played together, and I had so much fun doing this. This was a really fun series to record, and it might get revisited for like a one-off video. Me and Joseph might revisit this. We'll just do like a run. So if you're unfamiliar with a roguelite, you know, if you've been living under a rock, they've become really popular as of late, and have been for a while. So a roguelike is where you play a game over and over again until until you beat it, and then you can continue playing it after that, doing different runs and stuff. So the replayability already is a 10 out of 10 because there's so much you can do. And yeah, and each run is different. So gameplay, first person shooter, a lot of running around, pretty agile, pretty fast paced. Um, and it worked perfectly. There wasn't any times where I felt like the game was glitching or messing up. There were a few enemies that would glitch out and they become invincible, but they also couldn't attack you and they didn't move. So and yeah, and it wasn't game breaking. You would just ignore it and move on. So gameplay, honestly, 10 out of 10. Level design. So what you guys are seeing, this is actually a special level. All that's like purple crap around is actually some sort of crystal growth thing. But most of the levels, the first one that you play is the canyon, and then you can go to either the wastelands or the oasis. And yeah, you play through different levels. This one's a city. I believe this is District 9 or Haven 8 or whatever. Or yeah, I can't. Yeah. Anyways, level design. It kind of hurts to look at. Not gonna lie. So it gets a 9 out of 10 on level design just because it did hurt my eyes sometimes. Um, also there are weapon and enemy cards you can collect, which adds to replayability if you want. Fun. 10 out of 10. I could not wait to record this game. And especially if you're playing with a friend, this is definitely a game meant to be played by more than one person. You can play it solo, but it's much more enjoyable with friends. Story and voice acting. There's a little bit of story. The game is set in, like, when you're currently playing it, I believe the game is set in 2750. And you can find little data logs, which are collectibles, more replay value. And, yeah. And they kind of tell you the story. So the story of this game takes place between 1960 and 2750. So there's a lot of history to be uncovered. But yeah, the data logs are pretty hidden. Some of them, and some of them are out in the open. But there's not. But the story's not super important. But it's there. I'll give it a 4 out of 10 just because it's just there to give the world some substance, but it's not super important to the story or the game or anything like that. Um, Graphics. This game came out in 2020. It's again meant to look like a cartoon, a lot like Fall Guys. So I'm not gonna fault it too much for that. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. All right, and then we'll add that up. Again, this is going to be a big one because there's 3 10s in here and no zeros. So that's fun, isn't it? All right. So that one gets a 50 out of 60. Which, if you guys remember, if we're on a custom number, you fall back, so that puts it in the good category. But it is 1 point off away from being great. The only reason it's not in great is because, you know what? Even with this one, we can even make this one fall forward because it's such a great game. If you guys haven't played it, even just by yourself, like, seriously, play it. It's a great game. The boss fights are great. The game feels like a challenge. It's so good. So good. But yeah, that's it. That is all the games ranked. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out my other channels, Redleaf Mapping and Redleaf Sunset. Thank you guys so much for watching. And yeah, I look forward to doing more game rankings with you guys. So I will see you guys in the next one.